Hello and welcome to another edition of I. In today's video, I wanted to talk about an incident that happened a couple of years ago and the impact that it has had, not just on the small community in Africa, but worldwide. It's an incident involving a brilliant, young, dynamic Ugandan woman who passed away in the freakiest of manners. I'm sure many of you guys would have heard about this incident already, but I wanted to go over this incident again for those people who've never heard of it. Trust me, this one is going to blow your mind. And the reason I'm going over this now, it's not just random. There has been some movements in the courts very recently that I wanted to discuss with you. So if you know about this incident, listen up, because I'm going to be telling you some things that you may not have heard before. If you haven't, please sit back, please relax. You're not going to believe this one. Before I get into things, I'm going to ask you to please like, please subscribe, and please share the video. It's been really helping this channel to grow, and I'd like to thank you in advance for doing so. So where do we start? Let's start with the pandemic, because the pandemic has been blamed for many things, and in this case it really did have a real-time effect on everything that happened. More notably was the social distancing and the curfews that were put in place back in early 2020 to keep people away from each other. And it's so ironic that these protective measures actually helped exacerbate this accident. So we're going to be talking about the case of ESTHER. ESTHER is a young woman that was raised in Uganda. At the tender age of 17, she opened up a non-profit organization to help women in Uganda to deal with motherhood and to help young women and children to get vaccines and other medical supplies at a very affordable rate to those women. In Africa, healthcare is prohibitively expensive. So what this girl did at 17 years old to open up this non-profit organization which helped these women to give them proper healthcare, it's unbelievable. And she did it without help. This woman was brilliant. I mean, I'm running out of superlatives to describe her, really. She was working in the United States, where she met up with a man who would become her future husband, a man by the name of MICHAUD. Now, this happened March the 20th, 2019, and their relationship blossomed. They were very happy with one another. They got married only a few months after they had met. Ludovic thought that he had met the love of his life. So this was a very happy couple, and they got married subsequently shortly after they had first met. And both Ludovic and Esther were both living near Salt Lake City in Utah, and so they had access to some of the most beautiful national parks in the whole of the world. They were very outdoorsy people. So the quarantine, which happened in March the 20th, 2020 there in Utah, which kept them indoors for months on end, really took a toll on them. And those rules began to be relaxed. And in order to celebrate this relaxing of the rules, celebrate their newfound freedom, and also to celebrate the fact that they had met almost 1 year to the day, they thought they would take a nice hike at one of these national parks. And the national park that they chose was the Arches National Park in Moab. Now, the Arches National Park is well known, and it's more known for its incredible arches. These are arches which have been carved over tens of thousands of years with the unrelenting winds that they get down at Moab. So these winds would carve out these beautiful sculptures that you see before you now, and people come from all over the world to see this natural monument. So Esther and Ludovic went on this really long hike. It was 36 degrees that day, June the 13th. They went for this long walk. It was very, very warm. It was approaching 100 degrees Fahrenheit in the middle of a desert, very arid, very dry heat. It really took a toll on them. And after they finished this long hike, let's go and get ourselves a lovely ice cream. So that's what they did. They went back to their vehicle and drove out of the exit. This is where all hell breaks loose. And yeah, well, more than just hell breaks loose, because as they were driving out of the exit of this park, a sudden gust of wind blew an unrestrained park gate into the window of the car that Ludovic and Esther were driving in. The gate very, very narrowly missed Ludovic by inches. It sliced through the car window like a knife through butter, and it missed Ludovic, but it hit Esther.
In June, the newlyweds took a trip from Colorado to Arches National Park. Upon leaving, an unsecured metal gate swung into their lane of traffic.
The end of the gate impaled the car like a lance and literally headed his newlywed bride right in front of him.
It hit Esther here. It severed this from this completely. The torso was still in the car, but this part was on the floor outside the car.
911, what is your emergency? Hi, we need an ambulance immediately to Arches National Park. There was just a car accident and a woman is, her head is on the ground.
It's a crazy, crazy story. An absolute freak accident. So that's what happened. And to say that Ludovic was distraught is a major understatement. He will have to live with the images that he saw that day for the rest of his life. Oh, sorry, I'm just thinking, it's just crazy. Ludovic eventually had to leave America because he was getting panic attacks. He had post-traumatic stress syndrome as well, so he suffered from it. He can't drive in cars any longer. He couldn't even take care of himself. He was a native to France. He had to go back and live in France with his parents who had to take care of him. Only one person passed away this day, but 2 lives were actually destroyed. I can't even imagine something this horrendous happening to me. It's like something out of Final Destination. You're on your way, going to get yourself an ice cream, and then all of a sudden, the love of your life sitting in the passenger seat of your car, and there is a part of this person missing. Can you imagine that? I can't.
Ludo himself escaped death by mere fractions of inches.
Of course, this is America, so we have suit culture. The lawyers for Ludovic and the lawyers for Esther both sued the park separately. The lawyers for Esther were asking for a total of $30 million, and the lawyers for Ludovic were asking for a whopping $240 million. This is a lot of money, but it won't bring back Esther. It will only serve to make his life a little better. Lawyers for the park rangers actually argued about the amount of money that these guys were asking for. The $240 million that Ludovic has asked for, that Ludovic's lawyers have asked for, the park rangers lawyers, they didn't really moan about that. They weren't too concerned about that. It was the park rangers' fault, because the park rangers already knew that the constant winds that are in the park that help erode those beautiful arches that you see, they knew that those same winds and the sandstone being eaten away would easily eat away at a small metal latch that was supposed to be holding the gate. They also knew that this type of thing could happen because it had happened before in the same park. This is the part that blew my mind away. It had happened before. This is not the first time. It happened back in the 1980s. So you would have thought that they would have known better. The lawyers for the park rangers said that because of COVID and because of quarantine, because of social distancing, they were unable to communicate effectively, which led to a breakdown in communication between the park rangers, which eventually led to one of these gates not being secured properly. For me, there is no excuse. There's just no excuse. If you know that there is a chance that somebody's life could be in danger Those things should be at the top of your list of priorities. You're a professional organization. I know that accidents happen, but this accident was totally preventable. Now, those same lawyers actually turned their noses up at the $30 million that Esther's family was asking for. $30 million. That is 9 times less than Ludovic's family was asking for. And he's still alive. They didn't lose him. Yes, okay, he's going to be mentally scarred for the rest of his life, but he's there. He has a chance. He has a second chance of life. Esther's gone. The promise that this woman held, she was only 25 years old, and all the things that she had achieved, the Women's Achievement Award that she got from the United Nations, she created a reality TV show in Uganda, which was aimed at empowering mothers in Uganda. She had opened a community health center in Uganda at only 17. All those things that she had achieved, and she was only 25. Okay, they knew that she had a real chance of being the new Princess Diana, the ultimate philanthropist. And her life has been cut short because the park rangers didn't bother to buy a $10 padlock for this freaking gate. And now they're there moaning, saying, oh, well, we don't know whether Esther was going to make it big. We don't know. I mean, you know, yeah, there was a big chance that she could have made it and helped all these women in Uganda, but that's all it was. It was a chance. You know, there's no guarantee. So 30 million, we think 30 million is too much. So these lawyers offered the family $4.5 million, which of course the lawyers for Esther immediately rejected. So many of you may have heard about this story already, but what you may not know is that there was an actual settlement which happened only a couple of days ago. So this thing, it happened really fast because it only went into court back in the December of 2022, and it went in a matter of weeks ago. There was a settlement as well, so they had agreed on something. However, the total number that both Ludovic's family and Esther's family that they had come to agreement has not been made public. I think the main reason is possibly because Ludovic has probably made a lot more money than what Esther's family did. Ludovic's family is going to be very sad for Ludovic, but if they've made hundreds of millions of dollars from it, and now they've got their son back, and now they have a chance of restarting another life, you know, where Ludovic gets to meet another woman, you know, and gets to start a family and gets to be able to put his kids through best schools in the world, you know, gets to live his life willy-nilly with his new woman. If he has a new woman, I'm not saying that he has one, but clearly he's going to move on, right? He's going to move on. Esther doesn't get a chance to move on, but hopefully the settlement that Esther would have gotten will be there to help this clinic stay open and perhaps even make it better than what it was before, and to help other women, because it's clearly, I'm hoping that's where the money is going to be spent. We all know how people can be, especially poor people, actually even rich people in Africa, especially when they have that money put in their face given to them, they can have problems. So I'm hoping that the money came with some restrictions on the way it has been spent. I think that the money that has been given to Ludovic, if I need to be honest with you, I think that the money that's been given to Ludovic, if he's thinking straight, he will help out as well. He'll help Esther's family out to make sure that the dreams Esther had, that they come to reality, and that tens of thousands of women will be helped all across Uganda for generations to come. So that's it, guys. It's a tragic story. What are the morals? I mean, what can we learn from it? We can't really learn much. It was an absolute freak accident. The only thing we can learn is that little things can happen which make devastating consequences. All we can do is live our lives every day, like every day is the last. Go and kiss your loved one right now. Give him or her a hug, you know. Sit down, read a book with your kids, You know, really enjoy these moments because you just don't know. I know, I'm sorry, I don't want to sound morbid, but you really don't know. So what do you guys think? Do you think that this money will be spent in the right way? Do you think Ludovic is going to come out of his shell perhaps later in the future? Do you think that he's destined for a life of living with PTSD? Do you think that Esther's parents will do their best to spend the money in a way which would benefit those people in Uganda? Let me know in the comments section below. It'd be really good to hear your opinion on this. So guys, that's all I got time for today. Thank you for watching. Ciao.